And here we go. So today's topic is, obviously it's the beginning of the year, and we really want to get a head start. And to me, it's a constant, perpetual recommitment. We have some successes we've had in the past year. We've had some challenges. We've had some growth. But obviously, we want to continue on the level of growth. And I often get the question, Simon, what is the target for production that I should have for myself, based on last year's production, et cetera. And we'll kind of get into it. But I want to welcome everybody to this week's Real Estate Center Mastermind Group. And obviously, the video training series will be live online as we record week by week. But let's get right into it. And obviously, you'll hear me reference different quotes and so on. And I think these two are relevant. Brian Tracy, life is like a combination lock. Your job is to find the right numbers in the right order so you can have anything you want. And this is one of the points that I want to make is that a lot of people focus on doing deals, and that's the wrong focus, because the deals will take care of themselves if you focus on the right activities. So, when you focus on, for example, if you focus on 250 as a target and you want to do 25 deals a year, that's a couple of deals a month. I'm focusing on a couple of deals a month, a couple of deals a month. You can look at that on your screen all week long and you'll accomplish nothing. What we need to really look at is in the right order, meaning we need to look at what are the right activities we need to do day in, day out to build our database, to get the leads, to get the appointments, to get the customers, to get the clients, to get the deals. And the deals, the clients in terms of relationship building will also get us, the referrals and the repeat business. And over time, we'll be building a stronger and stronger and stronger business. And Edison, if we did all the things we're capable of doing, we would literally astound ourselves. Here's what I know, and I think most of us can agree. Everything that's required to succeed in our business, I think most of us can agree we can all do it. We can all talk to people. We can all figure out how to send a letter. We can all figure out how to schedule ourselves to visit our clients on a regular basis. We need to do things in the right order, and we need to have the belief that it's possible. And guys, we have people in our team that are going to do high six figures this year. So, these are real, normal people. I mean, they don't have extra arms. They don't have superhuman strength. They have the same amount of time in a day, and they have the same challenges that many of us have in life. So I think the time for excuses is over, because really when you look at the power of what we're doing as a group, all of the synergy that we've created, all of the sharing of ideas, and that positive energy, really we look at it, everything is possible, but it starts with you. If you don't believe that making $250,000 a year or $500,000 a year is possible for you, you're dead from the start. You've got to start with the belief that you can do all the activities, and it's just a question of doing the activities. But it also, begin with the end in mind, also says you have to have a crystal clear vision in your head of exactly the target that you want. And many of you will agree that I'm a little chubby, for example. But I put on the wall, and I literally put, if you guys walk into the war room, you'll see on the wall Simon's target as 199 pounds, and I put it up there for everyone to see. And just like the scoreboard we've got up on the screen with the flat screen and all of our team targets for numbers, I put my weight up there. I put my current weight, and I'm tracking my progress for all to see. And I got to give up my ego, because you know what? I'm heavier right now than I want to be, but I know exactly what I need to do. And every morning I visualize that 199. That 199 is my target. I'm sitting at 224 right now, which is, I'm actually proud to say I'm down 12 pounds in the last 2 months. And my target is 199. And guys, I'm hitting the big 5-0. So it's important for me. It's important. It's believable. And I'm not focusing on, I'm visualizing the target I want, but all I'm focusing on is eating healthy and working out. And you know what? I'll fall off the, I have to say it. I had a Cinnabon on the weekend. Somebody brought some Cinnabons with the cream, and I had a little piece. And then you know what? I focused on the 199. I threw the rest away. So it's not about being perfect. It's about constantly committing and constantly be focused on what we need to do on a regular basis. So let's continue with the tangible stuff of our discussion. I want everybody to take out their pen and paper. And if you're listening live, do it now, and write this down and make it a visual. Ideally, what I would do is I would even make this a screensaver on your phone. I know a lot of us have a lot of different screensavers, but what is your target? And let's look at, what are the number of deals you're looking at? what's the gross income, what's the net income, and the savings. So you can see it on your iPhone too, Tony? Fantastic. So again, breaking it down, and stop yourself if your mind defaults to, well, 250, I don't know, I want to be more realistic. I can't stand that word realistic. It's a stupid word. It should be a 4-letter word. Unfortunately, it's a lot more letters. It's a crappy word. It doesn't work for us. So get rid of realistic, and what is your optimistic goal? Make it your optimistic but believable goal. How many deals? We're saying, you know, this is sort of our benchmark. This should be the minimum. Some of you out there, I know Keith, I know Morris, and many others of you out there have a goal that's much higher than that, and that's fantastic. But this should be the minimum for everybody, whether you believe it or not. 25 deals, an average of $10,000 in gross commission each, which gives us $250,000 in gross income, and I've got a net income of $150,000. And how I come up with that is factoring in about $50,000 for expenses, and that includes your marketing, your car, your phone, all of that stuff, and $50,000 for taxes minimum, guys. That comes in around 20% of gross, which will actually come in at around 40% of your net income, right? And the idea is this: you've got net income of $150,000, you've got $100,000 for personal lifestyle. Remember, if all of your expenses are taken care of, that's $100,000 personal. That's a huge amount of money. Now, some of you have, you know, more than a couple of kids. The expenses can get up there, but no matter what, 100 is a good budget. And at the end of the year, we've still got savings of $50,000. I believe this should be the benchmark of the industry. We all know, though, I think it's approximately only 2% of our entire industry does this. So if you're in good company, if you're doing this, that should be everybody's target. If it's 300,000 or more, 400,000 or more, absolutely adjust it. Put it on your screensaver. Put it on your fridge. Put it anywhere and everywhere. Put it on your, put it on a Post-it. Put it on your mirror. You should be single-handedly focused on this target. And then when we work backwards, we focus on what we need to do. And we also got to remember that, ideally, we've got 3 different categories within our business that we focus on. We've got results time, we've got remodel time, we've got recovery time. And, for me, for example, I've got a lot of different things I need to accomplish during the week. And for example, I scheduled Friday as a remodel time. Or in the case of working with the group, it's actually for me Mondays and Fridays. And that's when I work on all of the success building tools that we're working with as a group. And I try to really make it only Friday. So if you call me and ask me for a meeting on Saturday, it won't happen because that's my recovery time. That's my family time. And I think each one of us needs to figure out what is our schedule for all of these different systems. So let's talk about results, remodel, recovery very quickly. Results is anything that actually has to do with the transaction. Booking appointments, contracts, doing offers, listing appointments, doing a CMA, research for an appointment, all of that stuff. Remodel is everything outside of that. Right now, we're in remodel time. So you should block off that Monday mornings, and I really block off the entire morning because you should be able to prepare for the meeting, and hopefully outside of at the end of every meeting, you'll have some ideas and things that you want to take action on. So if I were you, I'd book off, for example, from 9 a.m. to noon on Mondays for remodel time. And because we've got the conference call scheduled at this time, you've got time afterwards to take immediate action on something that we've talked about as a team. How are we doing on time? I'm just going to check the time here, folks. 11:15, fantastic. And the recovery time, of course, is whatever your personal time is. And of course, we have to work some weekends in our business. But here's where, if you've got personal scheduling challenges, you can look to others in the team. You've got a listing, for example, you can't cover open houses both Saturday and Sunday. Hey, I know there's people on our team that would love to do an open house for you, one or both. And even outside of our team, we've got everybody else within the office. There's going to be somebody that can give you backup. But you got to have a structure for your life because we can't go into workaholic mode. You can't do 250 or 300 or 400 or 500 at the expense of your life or at the expense of your family. So yes, we have to work evenings. Yes, we have to work weekends. We don't have to work all evenings. We don't have to work all weekends. So we can create a balance. And this is what I'm talking about. I've got my own schedule. I can give you ideas and guidance on it, but I think it's easy to create your own schedule where you've got to have a date night, you've got to have a night with your kids, you've got to have a night for personal, spiritual. You've got to schedule in your working out times. You've got to schedule in things like eating. You know what? I don't want to book appointments at lunch unless it's a lunch appointment. You got to reconnect with a past client or a raving fan, et cetera, et cetera. You can do that and schedule a lunch. And again, I think you get the message. But where the rubber hits the road with this stuff, guys, is you actually have to schedule blocks in your schedule. So if you're on your iPhone, you've got a schedule. If you're in Google Docs, you've got your calendar. You create a schedule. I would even color code it. You know, blue is results time, white or gray is remodel, and green is recovery. Don't mess with it. This is what we're all doing. Why don't we all follow the same guidelines and scheduling structure? And remembering that the mode that we should be in at the beginning of the year and really at the beginning of every day is really phase one of the business cycle. Number one, finding quality leads, which obviously leads to interview process. And I see a chat here. Keith is typing in. I have a template for scheduling I can share. Absolutely, Keith. That's fantastic, buddy. Send it to Brian, and he'll broadcast to the group. And you know, any ideas that come up on any specific topics, you know, that you want to share with the group, just send it to Brian, and he will distribute. But again, focusing on finding quality leads. We can't focus on everything today. We can't focus on discussing the client interview process. We can't focus on, you know, how do we handle clients and provide world-class service. So we need to focus on really what's our target and where should we spend our energy on finding leads. And of course, there's two basic types of leads. We can categorize this to the nth degree, but really it's cold and warm. And again, cold is those people that we don't know, and warm is people that we already know. They could be past clients, they could be friends, they could be people on your Christmas card list, they could be you know, friends of friends. You know, we can tap into the networks of our girlfriends, boyfriends, wives, partners, etc. We can tap into you know, whatever our network is, our past employers. And you really have to create by the end of the year, and this is kind of work in progress, but every solid business should have organized, proactive, consistent lead generation machines or systems in both categories. If you're wondering where to start, it's always one place. You always start with your warm market. You always start by reconnecting with your existing database of clients, with your existing friends and family. You always start with your personal contacts. And really, if somebody's asking me questions about CRM and they don't yet have a CRM software, I will end the conversation, point my finger to their computer and say, sign up for a CRM, then talk to me. Because you can't do this, you cannot do this without a proper CRM. And I don't care which one you use, but you got to use Top Producer or Exact Contact. Outlook doesn't qualify, and Excel spreadsheet doesn't qualify. You can debate it with me all day long. I've been at this a long time, and I've talked to many others that are in the business. You need a system, but you can keep it simple. And we're talking, you know, $40, $50 a month at the most to build something that will feed you for the rest of your life. So the objective again is, and it's not even really leads, really. It's the objective really should be focusing on how do I build my database? How do I get to my 200, 300, 400, 500 people strong? And remember we talk about database. Database conversion to me, the target is typically around 10%. I was talking with Anthony earlier today. He said, you know what, his database, Jean-Marie this morning, said his database hasn't grown that much in the last year or so. When we look at the conversion, he was right in there, around 12, 15% conversion on his database, and he had an aha. He said, you know what, all I got to do is build my database. The ROI will be there. So if you have 100 people in your database, you're going to do about 10 deals a year. You have 200 in your database, you're going to do 20. You want to do 50 deals a year? Easy. Build your database to 500 people, which is really about 1.5 people a day, right, Tony? 1.5 people a day in your database. And it's not just a name. It's a permission-based conversation. Hey, you know what, if you were going to buy or sell real estate, would you be comfortable working with me? And is it okay if we stay in touch? Do you mind if I add you to my VIP client list? I want to stay in touch. I want you to see the marketing that we're doing, and I really want to get your feedback on this. I really need a favor. Now we've got specific scripting on this stuff, and we'll cover this on a future call. But the idea is this: you got to recommit every year and every day and every month to building that database up, and you got to have that CRM system in place. Otherwise, all of our discussions are a waste of time. They're just going to get lost in the shuffle, guys. There's no way around it. There's no way you can keep track of 100 or 200 or imagine even 500 people. There's no way you can track all of these people. It's impossible. So you got to have that CRM system, and that's Big Brother Simon telling you that again. And here's one of the reasons why the warm market is so strong. It's the leverage. It's the leverage, and it's the number one reason that, you know, if you see an agent out there and they don't have consistent business, it's because of this. They're not using leverage. And in a good market, you know what? We get lucky. We'll just fall on leads. Leads will jump to us. We'll bump into somebody at a party they want to buy. We date somebody they want to buy. We break up with somebody they want to buy. You know, there's stuff out there. But if you don't have anything proactive and if you're not doing it in a consistent, leveraged way, see, I see a lot of agents really trying hard. I look out and I see people cold calling. I see people spending money on flyers. It's not leveraged because people don't know you. And we all know that, for example, with direct mail, you're lucky if you get, you know, 1/10 of 1% response. But I'll tell you, every time I send an email out to my warm market, I get results every single time because I've already built up the trust with people. They already know me, like me. They're listening to my message. They're reading my message. And whether it's an email, a letter in the mail, or a video that we're doing on YouTube, you know, it just makes our life easier. So you got to build that up. And you know, we'll talk about systems for generating cold business. In other words, people we don't know online, how to do strategic open houses, all of those different things. We'll get to that on a future call. But it really starts with creating the base, and leverage is the point. Now, when we talk about repeat and referral clients, again, you've heard me say this again, it is a long-term thing, and we'll talk about specific strategies like the annual review. I just started doing my annual reviews again this week, and for those that don't know, an annual review is very, very simple. If you sold a client a property last year, let's say in January, or in January 2010 or 2009, if they closed in January of any year, once a year, on the anniversary of their purchase, on the anniversary of their closing, I will send them a CMA with a boilerplate letter. I believe I've already sent out that letter to everybody with a template, and all you got to do is really, really simple. Click on Treb Search, search in the last 90 days, and print out 3 or 4 or 5 similar homes that sold. You're not even doing an analysis. You're not giving them a CMA. You're not saying your home is worth this. But the message is simply this: hey, I got your back. Happy anniversary. It just wanted you to know here's the activity in your neighborhood. And there's another opportunity that you'll notice in the postscript. There's even a call to action to send referrals and so on. But that's just one example of a strategy that takes time. And it's really, really easy to do. But it's also easy not to do. It's easy to forget. Because in the absence of a schedule, you will forget it. And, you know, can you send this by email? Sure. But really the best strategy is to show up in person once a year. Now think about this. Think about the last time you sold a house, and it's been a few years, and maybe they listed with somebody else 5 years later, and you know it's your fault because you didn't stay in touch. But now think back, if you had dropped by every year, just once a year, we're talking 5 minutes, just to pop in. Now this was a valued client. You probably enjoyed working with them. You spent a lot of energy finding that client. It just takes a little more energy to keep that client. And we'll be reviewing all of the different strategies, including the annual review, a simple way to do a blog, and the structure. But it starts with having a CRM software and being referable. And by being referable, well, for example, on this call, not everybody was on time. I had people piping in at 10 minutes into the call, at 20 minutes into the call. So it obviously wasn't that important. So if that's the way you're going to treat your business, you're going to get similar results. So being referable means being punctual, saying what you're going to do, and doing what you're going to say, and going above and beyond the call with things like the annual review and things like maybe an annual client event that we could do in concert. We can do it as a group and actually, share the load, etc. But here's the top 5. If I was going to break it down into the top 5 points, here really they are. Here they are right here. If we're looking at building long-term relationships with our warm market, with people we already know, it's a world-class contact system. In other words, you've got the CRM, but it's all of the strategies within that system that we're going to discuss over the year. In other words, what do you do? What do you do near closing, at closing, after closing, 3 months later, 6 months later, a year later, and a strategic alliance system. I know that I have a veritable army out there I've got sitting about, I probably guess right now about 30 people. I can go into my database and punch up raving fans, and it'll spit out a list. And these are the people that I talk to every single month. And my raving fans are, who are they? They're the people I'm sending business to, and the people that are sending business back. And there's very few people that I'm sending business to on a regular basis, mortgage brokers and movers, insurance, that aren't sending me business back. So these are the people I see regularly. I see them for coffee. I see them for drinks. I see them for lunch. I see them at their office. They see me. I'm in touch with them. And these people on a consistent basis are sending 1 to 2 deals a year. So think about that. What if you had just 10 people that you spend a lot of time and energy with, a very strong relationship with, and these are people that what I would call connectors, meaning they also have large databases. So they've got a database, we've got a strong connection, and they're literally out there promoting me. We're partnering. I've got mortgage brokers that have their contact info printed along with mine on the back of the book. They're printing up their own copies of the book, and they're promoting it. And guess what? I get calls all the time. Hey, I got your contact info on the back of the book from a mortgage broker, and I really love to meet, because they have a trust level with that person, and that trust will extend to you. So, again, having the world-class contact system with all of the strategies we're going to discuss over the year, and then also having a structure for building a strategic alliance. And we'll brainstorm on what are the business categories that we can talk to. Who are the people that we already know? I bet you've got clients out there that are in sales that would love your referrals, but you haven't even offered any referrals to them. And earlier I said the best way is to be referable. Well, the best way to be referable is to refer. If you're feeding others business, trust me, they're going to be happy to send you business. And secondly, we talk about opening new relationships with the cold market. Number one is a community connection. The community where you live or where you work, or both. And then the personal brand marketing that we talked about using the book and using the newsletters. But it's not as simple as just mailing out a newsletter. That really doesn't do it on its own. You're going to waste your money. You're going to waste your energy. It has to be part of a bigger plan. It has to be part of a bigger marketing structure. And then last but not least, online lead gen. And online lead gen, first of all, has to be done correctly. And secondly, does require money. It's really, really simple. If you figure you're going to create another website that somehow will be at the top of Google search engines because you paid somebody $50 to do search engine optimization or SEO, it's just simply not going to work. And I've got a question on the screen as well. Keith is asking, can you have these slides to refer back to? Well, all of these slides, by the way, guys, are going to be incorporated in a video recording. So you'll actually have a link to a video that will show all of these slides, all of this dialogue, and it won't show the chat, but it'll if we answer a question on the chat, all of it will be including. So you'll have all these slides, and you'll have any files that we discussed on the call. For example, as we get into buyer presentation and so on, we'll be referring to PowerPoint slides. We'll be referring to checklists, Word docs, so on. We don't share those with the world at large, but we'll be emailing those in prep of every training. So those are the top 5 building strategies, and this is really kind of an agenda for what we're going to discuss from the point of our schedule with these calls, and all of the other lead gen ideas for generating referrals, repeat business, and so on. We also want to make sure that we keep track of where our business is coming from. And this slide is misnamed. I'll correct that. But the idea really is tracking where our leads coming from. At the end of the year, we can reflect back and say, hey, you know what? I got 8 deals from referrals. I got 4 repeat business clients. I got a couple from my farming. I got nothing from sign calls, which is fine. You got to continue to do some of this stuff. But newspapers become a little antiquated. What about website? Are you getting anything from the website? Is there an area we can do there? What about personal brand marketing, et cetera, et cetera? So we need to be able to know where's our business coming from and be able to reflect back where can we eliminate expenses if we're not getting in results, and where can we improve on certain areas that we want to kind of commit to. And obviously other ideas, the door knocking, strategic alliances, FSBOs, et cetera, especially PPC with the online stuff. So we'll be reviewing all of this stuff. But on a simple level, at the end of the year, at the end of the month, you can track where did your business come from, and you just have to keep simple notes in your file and at the top of every checklist, you'll see a little box that says source. So you want to know, where did your business come from? Especially if it's a referral or an introduction from anybody, you want to reward that person. You want to make sure you track it in your system. And really, if you don't already have the inspiration, if you really looked at your business and if you stopped doing everything, if you stopped leaving the house today, how long would it take for you to run a business? Would it be a month, 2 months, 3 months? And that's really what you want to work on. My business, I understand that if even if me at this point, if I stopped, my business would disappear. If I stopped doing all the marketing that we're doing. The nice thing is knowing that even if I took a month off, but the marketing continued, the business would still come in. The leads would still come in because it's systematized, it's organized. 10 mailers go out to my client base every year. Quarterly calls go out, monthly calls to the raving fans. So it's not about working more, but it's about working a little harder now to build the systems that would give us the longevity. And at the end of the day, you got to remember there's really only 3 assets that we have. Number 1 is our knowledge. Number 2 is our reputation. And number 3, our current database. So people trust you maybe if they know you. People will rely on your knowledge. But if they don't hear from you, all of that is worthless. And then the question becomes, can you sell your knowledge? Can you sell your reputation? When it's time for you to retire, can you sell you? Because if all you have is your knowledge and your reputation, and you don't have a system with a database and a structure, you've got nothing. You've got no exit strategy. All you have, you don't have a business. All you have is a sales job. And it's a good sales job. But if you want to have a little bit more than that, if you want to have something that you could actually, I've seen some senior agents retire and sell their business for a lot of money. And there's a lot of different models for selling your business. You could sell it for cash. You could sell it for 50% of revenues year 1, 40% of revenues year 2, and so on and so forth from your database. But that's better than leaving and taking your briefcase with you and getting 0. And the only way you're going to do that is if you have a structured database. And lastly, a couple of books that I want to recommend everybody read this week and pick them up. And don't waste an hour going to chapters. Just go online and get these books. Richard Branson. You know what? And you got to love this attitude. And obviously, this guy has had some results and success, not just in business but in life. Screw it, let's do it. You got to love just the title and just the right attitude. And then this, Jack Canfield Success Principles. I've gone through it before. I know Jazz and a few others have. This should be the Bible of getting yourself organized. I've yet to find anything better than Canfield Success Principles. It really is phenomenal. Now, we're going to wrap up today's call just on time, and I haven't had any other questions, but if any other questions come up now, or if you're listening to a recorded version of our Mastermind video training series, fire me an email, give me a call, whatever you need to do, smoke signals, we'll get you the answers, we'll get you files if you're not sure where they are, but review this. We're going to send a link out with a recording of this at some point later in the week, and we'll send you a link to the YouTube channel where we're going to archive all of these. But that's it for today, and you know what my final saying is, go sell something. Have a great day, guys. Talk soon.